Welcome to a brand new episode of Breakaway Coverage. I'm your host, John Carlo Nadeau. Absolutely delighted to be joined by the head coach of UBC women's hockey. He has helped shape some of the country's top players, led the program to multiple championships as well. His name is Graham Thomas. Coach, thanks so much for doing this. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Super excited to be speaking with you. Let's jump back to the very beginning. Talk to me about your hockey roots.
Yeah, I grew up in Calgary, Alberta, on a little farm just outside, kind of outside, like west of Calgary, and just kind of grew up probably like a lot of Canadian kids with just playing on the pond. We had a lucky enough at our farm, we had a little pond out there, and Lanny McDonald, actually, that's why he's my favorite player and idol and mentor still. He lived across the way, and so when they won the Stanley Cup with the Flames, and we got to go over there and be a part of that party, and he would bring the old nets down from the corral down to the pond, and that's basically where it all started. Just the love of the game, just getting out there, playing on the pond, and growing up, and then that kind of just built and grew and developed the passion for the game that I have still today. I just absolutely love the game, and so I kind of went through and played the ranks in Alberta, and double A, triple A, kind of Royals. Grew up at Springbank playing like kind of in the minor days, and then went on to Drayton Valley, played junior, and then at a kind of young age at 18, maybe in hindsight too young, went over and had an opportunity to play professional hockey for a year in Germany. Um, and so did that for a year, and then just ran into some kind of health issues and whatnot with a couple injuries, unfortunately, and then got into coaching at a young age. I came back, had some opportunities to still play junior and college here, and decided to get into coaching. So started coaching at 19.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible. You kind of mentioned growing up, you're a big Flames fan. Is it hurting you to see the Oilers in the finals right now?
It is. It is. We're cheering. It's tough around this house. We're cheering for the Canadian team, but it is tough. It's tough to see their success, but happy for them and happy it is a Canadian team. So rooting for that. But at the same time, yeah, it's that Battle of Alberta is real for sure.
You started coaching at 19. I'm just kind of curious what kind of team you were coaching at that age.
Yeah, I coached. It's funny. There's still a lot of players still stay in touch with today. Some players that went on from that team that played a little professional and played at some high levels as well, and at college and NCAA on the guys' side. And it was just somebody from my community is kind of like the Pee Wee AAA team, like kind of like the top AAA team we had in our community in Springbank, and they. Somebody heard I was back from playing and around and invited me out to kind of take on and head coach this team. And that's where it all got started for me. So it was awesome. I think gosh, I got to remember back. That is seems so long ago now. But yeah, I think we went to like the lost in the city championships and things like that, and had a really fun, successful year. And then that's kind of just where it kind of grew from there. And then I just couldn't get enough of it. I coached at the National Sport Academy during the day. I coached teams in the evening. I coached with Hockey Alberta and um, you know, uh, what are these called? Alberta Cup teams, the U16 program. So a lot of guys that are playing in the NHL and went on to play pro. And um, one of the guys I coached, Cody Allman, just announced retirement here this year, and Zach Boychuk's still playing overseas. Yeah, just so many players, so many alumni, like guys that I was, just lucky enough to work with at a young age, and yeah, that's kind of where the passion for coaching grew, and I just couldn't get enough of it. So I was taking my degree, coaching during the day at skill sessions at that academy, and then I'd coach in the evening as well. So it was just nonstop there. And it really has been the exact same of just nonstop coaching basically for almost the last 25 years.
It's incredible. You mentioned, like I said, you've started coaching at 19 years old. Is that something you knew right away? Oh, I can't play anymore. You know what? Let's step behind the bench. Was that kind of an easy one for you?
You know what? It wasn't at first. I was still kind of struggling with that transition of of going from, a player, and then going into, what do I do next, right? And so I think it wasn't forced upon me, but it wasn't something that I was like searching out. I was still just trying to figure out if I should go back and play, what should I do? Bunch of options, bunch of things, and and so yeah, it was kind of something that was nudged and hey, why don't you try doing this? Still love the game, still involved in it. You've done some like coaching and camps and things like that at a younger age and like a junior coach type thing, um, at different hockey schools and things. So yeah, it was kind of a little bit nudged and kind of got pushed into it, I think. And then, but then it just kind of just loved it. Loved the kids, loved working with the kids. I love just and really enjoyed the skill development side of the sport academy that I worked in there at NSA. But I also love just bringing teams together and like building a culture, building an environment, and getting to know the players at getting close, to them and kind of seeing what makes them tick. And everybody's so different, and just trying to kind of get the most out of them, but also grow them on and off the ice. But that was kind of, where it all started.
Yeah, you brought up, kind of bringing organizations to the next level. We'll talk about that for a second, but I just want to keep talking about, the fact that you were coaching at 19 because I'm involved in junior hockey in a media role. I still get to see the players, kind of like you. Obviously, they're different capacities, but a lot of the kids that I get to work with, they stop playing hockey at 20 if they're able to, if the injuries, are an issue. And then they're like, what do I do now? So, what advice would you give to somebody like that who maybe is interested in becoming a coach once their junior days are done, but isn't quite sure if it's for them?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably like me, I would kind of just take that leap. I would just jump in and for me, I was so blessed. Like, oh, we had Roger Wolf as a coach mentor for me. We had like Mark Habscheid back in the day, Greg Gilbert. I had like NHL level top end junior coaches. Like there's just a huge list. Barry Midori within Hockey Alberta that helped me and guide me. There's just so many, and like I was just a sponge, right? And you'd learn just from so many coaches, and I think you just kind of got to take that step into that next world. And there's so many. That's sort of thing I love about the coaching kind of fraternity and world is that there's just so many people willing to help out and guide you, teach you, give you a few things, ask some drills, go to coaching clinics, go to just as much as you can, if you're interested in doing it. But if you have any interest still in love of the game, I would definitely just give advice to kind of foresee it, like, jump into it. It isn't an industry. I mean, it has changed at a young age. I think my first, I don't know how many years, 10 years, like it was all volunteer basically, right? All the stuff you're doing in the evenings and the teams working for these, maybe a little bit of gas money or things like that. So, I mean, it has improved in the sense of helping young coaches get involved with more than just kind of covering some coaching certification and covering, a little bit of their time. But I think it is getting better that, it's something where it can help maybe pay for some of the expenses that you have and living expenses. But it's just the way it was back then. There wasn't really a lot of compensation on it, and that's why I wasn't. That's why I didn't get into it, or why I got into it. It wasn't for that reason. It's just loved the game, loved coaching it, loved the competitive side of it, like just going to compete. I just, like I get squirrely around the house here if there's just like something that you can't go compete for. I coach both of my kids right now, and it's just, there's a weekend where both they don't have a tournament, and you just kind of wondering what are we doing this weekend to compete for something. Like it's just, it's just kind of engraved. So a lot of high performing athletes, or just a lot of people that play the sport, that's ingrained in them, right? Like that's just part of their DNA. So I think, um, if that's something as a young player that you had in you and a drive to compete, then, coaching is a great avenue, right, for that to kind of, get that out and try to still kind of scratch that itch, I would say. But yeah, back to the advice, I just say I would just jump in, try to look for coaches that you can learn from, opportunities that you can learn from. And I just was, like I said, was blessed to have so many coach mentors and people that I learned from, as I was a young coach that, that's why part of why I give back and help create opportunities and avenues for other young coaches.
100%. I love to hear it. Great that you're always wanting to win something because I'm much the same. So, good to hear that. You helped build the Syracuse program from the ground up. I'm just curious to know what lessons you brought from that experience with you to UBC.
Yeah, I mean, in those 4 years in Syracuse were huge for my growth. I still, again, another great person, and we still are in touch and friends is Paul Flanagan. He had a ton of success on the men's side in St. Lawrence. Just learning how to recruit there, learning how to coach, build teams. Then switched over and had a lot of success on the women's side at St. Lawrence. And then he was hired to kind of start the program from scratch at Syracuse. And so when I met him in Florida, gosh, it was around this time, I think. I was down there for my honeymoon slash, I've got a supportive wife, but honeymoon slash, go to this coaches conference down in Florida, and I met Paul, and we just hit it off. And I had a background in strength conditioning and video coach with the Hitman and just coaching skill development. And so he needed to hire somebody who was there looking to get this program off and started. And we hit it off, and we ended up leaving there with a job, and we had to put a team together in like 2.5 months for that following that season. So just that experience of like building a program from literally like we had to design the locker room, the gym. They didn't even have a puck ordered. We had to do it all and build a team in a very short period of time. And then we were one of the fastest. Well, we were the fastest, I believe, like first year kind of expansion teams to be ranked in the top 10 that year, and some great players, transfers that came over, but also just kind of young players that were just kind of embrace the underdog mentality. And so I learned a lot there from Paul about just recruiting, starting a program at that Division 1 level, what it takes, being on the road, evaluating, scouting, meeting with parents, and just what behind the scenes, what's all, a part of it. So yeah, I have a lot of amazing memories, and obviously I learned a lot too. I made mistakes, and I think that's the thing as a coach, you're just like the players, right? You're not perfect, and you're making mistakes, and want to create an environment where they feel they can learn from their mistakes, and they can grow, and they can be confident, but at the same time be held accountable. And so like for me too is I learned a lot in that time there. I learned a lot from Jamie Mullen, and who was one of the athletic directors that oversaw the program. And my time there was crucial. It was massive in my development for sure.
It's the 2012-2013 season, and you're bringing a one-win team to a conference championship. What sticks out from that year?
Yeah, I that another crazy. I don't know what it is with me and falling around. Either even when I played, like Drayton Valley was like an expansion junior A team. We went over to Germany, and it was like an expansion farm team for the DL, the Division 1 team. And so it's just everywhere I've gone almost, there's just been a little bit of like either restarting a program or starting from scratch. So that was kind of what I was expecting here. I was actually, got the job really late. In June, had to move our family, just had a son born in New York, and had to bring him across and the family across the country to get settled here at UBC. And didn't really know anything from anything. And I remember just sitting down with some of the players when I got here in July, and I was expecting obviously the worst when you're looking at the record. They're last place in all of Canada. And not just in that, when I looked at the deeper dive into the program, it was like we were in the gym, we were like one of the lowest the fitness level, and ranking of all the teams at UBC, and our academic performance, um, everything, just from fundraising, just everything. We were basically the bottom of the barrel. And So yeah, I was expecting that would be a real one, and I remember joking with Teresa Hansen, who hired me, and Bob Phillip at the time that, hey, if we get 2 wins in the first year, we're doubled our performance, and they'd be happy about it. And so I think the expectations were the bar was kind of low. We kind of went in, but what I realized is that wow, there was quite a group of athletes here, returning athletes that some of them were going to quit. I convinced them to kind of stay. Found a former national team kind of goalie and Danielle Dubé that wanted to help coach, and I convinced her to play and come out of retirement. I think she was like 33 at the time or something, like older than me. And it was quite a wild ride. Just putting this team together, and basically outside of convincing Danielle to join, it was like, this is the group I had. I didn't really bring anyone else. I think Danielle Lemon, I got to know her as a goalie in some of the scouting and recruiting that I did um, at Syracuse. So I kind of brought her as another goalie. So to the team. Other than that, you just kind of inherited what you had, and you didn't have a lot of time, and you just kind of got to put this thing together. And but like what I realized, there was a good group there. There's a great core, and I think the biggest thing in that year was everyone was just sick of losing. The point where people didn't like the game anymore, didn't love the game. We're gonna, quit. Um, coming into it, and it's like, oh, let's just give it one more season. Let's just give it another try here. New coach. Let's just see how it goes. So thank goodness that everybody came, and it was just like one of those meant to be years. And we just kind of changed the culture, changed the environment, changed the how we did everything, and just wanted our theme was basically, did you get better today? And just kind of one day at a time, and just and then we just had that historical turnaround season, and we just kind of built it. But the players bought in, and give them full credit, and put their hearts and everything into it, and put everything that they had into it, and we were able to come up with 17 conference wins and go on to win the Canada West title against the former national defending champions with Haley Wickenheiser on the team. And so it was quite a year. And then we fell short there. Danielle Dubé. I mean, we were just traveling, running, running, running. There was no buy at the time, so we were on the road, on the road, on the road. Had to come back, then turn around a day and go to Toronto for nationals that year, and we just ran out of gas. I think we were just going too much. We had a couple injuries. We had Danielle Dubé didn't even play a game at nationals, got sick, stayed in the hotel the whole time. So we just had a few things that just kind of cut our Cinderella, season a little bit short. But yeah, what an incredible year. I'll always cherish so many of those I mean those relationships we built that year with that group, and still love to see them as alumni, and talk about that season. And yeah, it was quite a memorable season, and something for sure one of the highlights of my hockey days for sure.
Well, you were there for when UBC was ranked number 1 in the national rankings for the very first time. You were also there when they went back-to-back Canada West titles. So, what was that like to experience as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, it's been very blessed. Like we've had just so many, just had a lot of success here at UBC, and being able to kind of even more recently had the back to back to back for the first time, and winning on home ice for the first time. There's so many firsts, right? And being nationally ranked, yeah, number 1 is national silver and bronze, like just all the. We've had 2 back-to-back regular seasons here where we've set records for for the best regular seasons in Canada West history, 2 seasons in a row. So we just keep setting the bar um, high. And yeah, it's hard to kind of pinpoint one memory or one moment that stands out. I think one thing that just I'm proud of is just like, our staff, the support from the department, the coaches that have been able to be with me along the way to help me grow this, and help me do this is really one of the biggest advices, I guess, going back to, coaches or anyone building something, is just surrounding yourself with people that challenge you, that are smarter than you, that can make you better. And that's something I really believe in. And I've just been, yeah, super blessed to have just some of the incredible coaches that have been a part of this journey with me here at UBC. And And even just the coaches at UBC, I've learned a lot from them. Some amazing coaches here, and yeah, so I think all of that is just kind of goes into building it, and then same with the players. I mean, it's always the players they're the ones that are committing to what the vision is that we have for the program. And they're the ones that are putting in the work and putting in the sacrifice. And so just to all the players that we've had over our time that have been a part of those milestones and those achievements. I mean, it's their success as much as mine or any of the staff. Like it's one big kind of team family mentality we have here, and yeah, it definitely puts a smile on your face when you go back and take yourself to some of those memories and just some of those feelings when you accomplish some of those firsts and set some history. It's always very motivating and inspiring and something that's fun to do.
I love it. I'd love to also talk about the PWHL for a little bit here, Coach. Obviously, it's in year number 2, getting set for year number 3. But I guess the biggest thing is the fact that there's now a team in Vancouver. As a coach and a recruiter, does that make your job easier or harder to get some talent out here?
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens here in Vancouver. I know Kira, who they hired as a general manager. We kind of go back from the Syracuse days and even early UBC days of seeing each other around at showcases and rinks, and so kind of know each other, a little bit there. And so it'll be interesting to connect with her and see what their vision is. I do think there could be some real good synergies and some good things we can do together. And now with having Trinity in BC as well, but just having, just continuing to grow the game, continuing to grow women's hockey and girls hockey in the grassroots and in the communities, and just the keep elevating the game, right? Like just seeing it on TV, seeing it. I was at that game at Rogers when they had the tour, and that game was incredible to see, and had some players that I coached with Jen Gardner and Haley or Hannah Miller, and obviously one of our alumni, Rylan McKinnon, playing in the game. Um, was really special, right? Just seeing some of those players that I've coached and that I've worked with and been a small part of their journey. Just watching them play in the big stage like that was amazing for women's hockey, and just amazing for me, and our team got to go there and support it. So yeah, just it's exciting the growth that's coming out west, and it's exciting for our players. We've got some players that are um, listed on the draft here to see what happens, or if someone gets signed, and with the expansion of everything. But it was awesome to have an alumni. We've got an alumni coach in Mike Summer that's been in New York for a couple seasons, and he was with me for 7.5 seasons here at UBC. So to see him having success and just enjoying that, it's been amazing. It's been amazing for the game, and for amazing to just kind of stand back and watch. So it'll be interesting. Like I said, I'm not sure what it's gonna look like coming into Vancouver. I'm sure it's gonna be nothing but positive, and just hopefully, like I said, we can find some synergies and between our team, our level, and the Vancouver team to try to do some things together for the community and for the game.
I'll leave you with one more here, Coach. And again, a pleasure. Thanks so much for doing this.
Of
Uh,
course.
Last one for you. It's the toughest one. That's why we got it at the end. But you've won a lot. We've already talked about that. You've experienced a lot. I want to know, besides the wins and the championships, how you personally measure success.
Yeah, it's great question for sure. For me, I think we take a lot of pride in the whole player and developing the whole person. And so I think we do a graduation banquet every year, just with our team. And I think just watching and seeing how these players have grown. We get to be with them because of COVID now, some of them 6 years, 5 years, you know, typically on average. But a lot of them I'd coached before at Team BC, or just been around at camps and seen them around and worked with them. So you're kind of seeing these players grow from ages 15, 16, all the way up to 24, 25. And it's just being a part of some of those more influential years, I think, Um, when they're going through university and they're growing a lot and they're learning and they're kind of shaping what their lives are going to be and what's in store for them and what they're going to do with their lives. I think just being alongside of that journey, like watching them grow, watching them develop, watching them mature, watching them have success, even our alumni now just being, physios or being this or being that, whether it's success in hockey, where a lot of them are still in the game and coaching in the game. Some of our alumni are coaching and giving back. It's been amazing to watch them, have success in that field. But there's so many fields that they've gone into where you can just sit back as a coach and just be proud, of seeing them and being a part of it. And so yeah, just again, like at the end of they dread this, but we do senior speeches at the end, and I keep saying we need to record these and have them big Rolodex or big file somewhere with all of these speeches with all these amazing women, and what they've accomplished, what they're continuing to accomplish in their life. I think that's kind of the biggest debate, like why we do what we do. Obviously, we love winning, and it's a big part of it. But to see them have academic success in their new careers, success off the ice, even just growing and just for some of them, it's even just graduating, and getting across the finish line. Like it is not easy to do to be a student athlete, especially at UBC, one of the top schools in the world. Like it's a rigorous schedule, and there's a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of time and effort and things that they have to do to be a varsity athlete, as well as um, you know, have success in the classroom and take those next steps in their life. So even just that alone, watching them go through that and watching them grow through that, I think is probably one of the biggest kind of successes, or one of the that we get, that we feel good about, and that we're proud of.
Graham Thomas, head coach from UBC women's hockey coach. A pleasure. Glad we were able to do this. Thanks so much for jumping on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And we'll look forward to watching more of your podcast or your show and staying in tune. So thanks again.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm John Carlin Ado. This was a brand new episode of Breakaway Coverage. We got a new one dropping next week.